Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I will make a few brief remarks and then I'll be happy to take any questions that you may have. Earlier this week, Stephen McNeil unveiled his high-tax, high-spend agenda, otherwise known as the Liberal platform. It keeps taxes high, it keeps wasteful spending flowing, and it keeps power rates high. They call it Nova Scotia First, or NSF, non-sufficient funds. Simply put, Nova Scotians cannot afford the high-tax, high-spend agenda put forth by the Liberals. In the last election campaign, Stephen McNeil did not tell us what his platform would cost. It turns out he had the most expensive platform of all. The true cost of his promises was more than $500 million. Nova Scotians couldn't afford the McNeil Liberals then. And after 4 years of Darrell Dexter's NDP, they certainly can't afford them now. Stephen McNeil's high-tax, high-spend agenda is even more dangerous than it was last time. It contains no plan to provide tax relief and no timeline for a balanced budget. And just like last time, Stephen McNeil's numbers are incomplete. Last time, he did not tell us the cost of his expensive promises. This time, he forgot half of his promises altogether. The Liberal platform, as it stands currently, is the most expensive of all three parties. It calls for nearly $200 million in new spending. But here's what Stephen McNeil forgot: the nearly $100 million in NDP pre-election promises he committed to only a few short weeks ago. Promises that Nova Scotians cannot afford. We're starting to see a common theme here. Stephen McNeil keeps running up the tab, but the taxpayers keep footing the bill. At a recent Halifax Chamber event, when asked if he would support Darrell Dexter's pre-election spending splurge, Stephen McNeil said he would. So where are the commitments? Where is the $100 million in new spending that Stephen McNeil promised Nova Scotians at the Halifax Chamber on August 28th? Why were those promises not included in the Liberal platform? And why won't Stephen McNeil be straight with Nova Scotians about the true cost of his high-tax, high-spend plan? The NDP spending commitments that Stephen McNeil promised to honor bring the true cost of the Liberal high-tax, high-spend plan to close to $300 million. The evidence is mounting. Stephen McNeil's Liberals cannot be trusted to manage your money. To date, when you include the NDP promises Stephen McNeil says that he will keep, the true cost of the Liberals' high-tax, high-spend agenda totals at nearly $300 million. And that's just the promises that we know about. How many more expensive promises will Stephen McNeil make taxpayers foot the bill for? Stephen McNeil says there's an unwritten rule that he must honor the NDP's pre-election spending spree. We agree that we cannot find that rule written anywhere. That rule will not apply to Jamie Bailey and the Progressive Conservatives. We will stop wasteful spending. We will lower taxes. We will build a Nova Scotia we can be proud of, where our children can prosper, a Nova Scotia that we can afford. Nova Scotia first, more like non-sufficient funds. I'll take questions.
So, Andrew, apparently Stephen McNeil said subsequently that he's referring to capital commitments. Keep capital commitments, not annual operating commitments. Does that line up with what he said after the Neptune event?
That is different than what I think most Nova Scotians heard after the Neptune event. So our understanding is that McNeil was wanting to commit to the entire spending spree. I welcome you to seek clarity on that, because he has not delivered a clear message. What Nova Scotians have heard is that he intends to spend an awful lot of money, and that he doesn't intend to balance the budget until the end of his 4-year mandate.
And do you know how many or which commitments, if any, a PC government would keep out of those pre-election announcements?
Yeah, sure. There are some. I'll give an example off the top of my head. Is the cap on classroom sizes. The difference is that at the back of our platform, we have a detailed list of what the expenses are, where the savings will be realized, and what the surpluses are. It's meaningfully different, it's more detailed than what other parties have put forward. So Nova Scotians can see for themselves what our plan is.
And would the others be up for review, or would they just not be going forward under a piece of government?
They would be up for review, is what Jamie Bailey has said.